Okay, so I'm Matt, I'm the CEO of Babble. Just a little bit of context to sort of help frame what I'm then going to talk about in terms of how we think, thought and are thinking about diligence. So I've been involved in the management of, I'm a sales guy involved in the management of tech businesses for knocking on 25 years now. I'm slightly embarrassed to admit. And I've been running Babble for 8.5 years now. Prior to Babble, I was involved in software and SaaS and inverted commas businesses, public and privately held, and did a decent number of acquisitions prior to Babble. So we acquired 20 businesses in 3 years, and it was really informal because there's no investment committee. You're spot on. You basically turn up and tell the board that you want to spend some of the money that we've raised from the shareholders in some sort of follow-on offering, and they basically say, yeah, okay, as long as you're happy with it. Subsequently, did a management buyout, so bought a business for 100 million quid, doubled it in size in 3 years, did 4 acquisitions in 3 years there. And then did a couple of other things and joined Babble beginning of 2016 when it was a 14-person, 6 million revenue business. It's now a 500-person, 110 million revenue business. And we've done 34 acquisitions over that period of time, and we've done them in chunks. So we did nothing for 18 months. We did a couple of deals, did nothing for 18 months. Did 4 deals very quickly, then did half a dozen deals in 12 months, and then 20 deals in 20 months. But doubled the size of the business between June 22 and June 20. We did 14 acquisitions in 12 months, and we did 3 in a week at once, or completely out of bought. We completed 3 in a week, we didn't do 3 in a week, we signed the paperwork, we completed 3 in a week. So that gives you a sort of sense of the sort of pace that we're doing and how we've done these things and how we've thought about it or how we think about it. And I think that, I think diligence and the work that businesses do around diligence has evolved. I would argue evolved on a circular basis. It's gone from trying to get insight about how a business is. Please not let that be me. I'm so happy. It's gone from people not having information. The first big acquisition I did, we bought a business in Germany in 2006 and paid 34 million euros for a 12 million turnover, 12 million revenue, recurring revenue business, software business there. You start with diligence where you do a lot of it yourself, you get somebody to check the numbers, but it's insight. And then I think we've gone through a period of time, and I know we have, where it's all been about validation. So we came up with this idea with these guys a long time ago about instead of trying to validate, and I'm only talking about the numbers here, I'll talk about the other pieces and the other important parts in a minute, but we want to validate the financials. So give us your management, give us your accounts, and we'll ask somebody, we'll do a piece of work, and then we'll ask somebody else to tell us whether they think that what you've told us and what we value the business on and what we're going to inherit is what you're telling us. And we came up with this idea of, and learning from the integration side of it, that if we could validate the numbers based on our model, going back to what you said, give me something that I recognise that makes sense to me. And this was something we did with Evolution. Can't remember which deal, we came up with this genius idea of before we start the diligence process, if we restate the numbers based on how we think about what the P&L looks like, well then we're validating something that makes sense to us. So you go from insight, so basically there's no information, and I'm trying to work out what it is I'm buying, to you've told me what I think I'm buying, I've agreed a price on it and I'm validating it, to I think where the world's going now, which is back to insight. So what's the impact this is going to have on my business after I've acquired it and I'm looking to integrate it? So that's why I talk about evolving in a circular basis. We're back on the insight side of things. So as we think about diligence and the value that diligence providers deliver to us, it's helping us to understand better what it is we're going to have after we've done the deal. So we've always talked about testing the information before we complete and understanding. So testing the information and learning about the business before we complete, and understanding the organisation and what it looks like as part of Babble after we complete. And we have a really, well, what we would like to think is a really industrialised process that we go through with a group of partners. We tend to work with a small group in each set and a really small group in some areas. But having somebody who is delivering value as part of the process and helping us have a better view of what it is that we're going to have as part of the business afterwards is absolutely key. And it's become, 200 and 300 page reports. I was going to say they're really interesting, they're exactly the opposite of that. And we tend to find the stuff that we use for the sort of deals that we're doing tend to be much shorter documents than that. And I think that's partly because this is what we think the answer is. Can you tell us whether we're right, and then can you tell us what that means for our business afterwards? And it's trying to think about it that way. And the financial side is one part. I was going to say it's the dullest part, but it's not. The legal piece is the dullest part of it. Absolutely. It's arguably the most important part, but it's definitely the dullest part of it. And the interesting piece is always theoretical, the commercial piece. The reality is they are all absolutely critical. And I think that what we've moved. If you look at our original. Talk about rationale papers, which we actually used to call rational papers because none of us can spell. And I kid you not on that one. That started with an FDD report, an LDD report, and an internal document about CDD that then got a tech DD report added to it. Then we outsourced the CDD, do a lot of work and analysis based on that, and other parties, but primarily them. But we started doing work around people and product and what the plan is afterwards. So, I think that, as you think about your businesses, you think about the journeys that you're going on, be it as a potential acquiree or as an acquirer, that whole principle of what does this look like after the effect? And what's the impact that it's going to have? Because that's where the value creation comes from, for both parties at that stage and for later in the process. But yeah, what's the best way to summarise on that? I think about the circular nature of that evolution. Think about insight to validation to insight, and that being almost a permanent circle that you're going in.
Okay, thank you. When we get